everyone, and welcome to my YouTube series that is not about me. Hello everyone, and welcome to my Spotlight On series where I shine my little light on the stars of theatre and musicals and chat with them all about their careers in this business we call show. If you haven't seen me before, then hi, my name is Emily and I'm an actor-singer based in the UK, and I spend my time either performing in shows or talking about them. If you love all things theatre, music and musicals as much as I do, then click subscribe and join my stagey little online family. Also, while you're there, click the thumbs up if you would like to see more videos like this one on my channel. And if you are really into this, then comment down below with your favourite Elphaba. So welcome to my second series of videos where I will be chatting to the stars and creators of West End and Broadway theatre, the award winners and the fan favourites. Today I am lucky enough to be joined by the incredible KERRY ELLIS, star of Broadway and West End. So I have absolutely no doubt that you all know exactly who KERRY ELLIS is, but just to make sure we are all on the same page, let me chat to you a little bit about her career so far. In 2000, KERRY made her West End debut in My Fair Lady with Marty McCutcheon in the leading role. KERRY was in the role of Swing and second cover Eliza when she was spotted on stage by the legendary Brian May, who then encouraged her to audition for his new musical written by Ben Elton, We Will Rock You. In 2002, after 7 auditions for the show, KERRY was offered the role of Meat. And from that moment on, KERRY ELLIS and Brian May have worked and performed together right up until this present day. Upon leaving We Will Rock You in 2004, KERRY ELLIS performed in a number of prestigious concerts, including as Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar at Porchester Castle. She went on to play Ellen in the UK tour of Miss Saigon, Fantine in Les Mis at the Queen's Theatre in London's West End, and in 2006 she joined the original London cast of Wicked, first as temporary cover to Idina Menzel before taking over the lead role of Elphaba after 3 months. KERRY performed for a year and a half as Elphaba in London's West End before transferring to the Broadway production in the leading role in June 2008. She then came back to the UK to play Elphaba for another run from 2008 to 2009. It was following her departure from Wicked that KERRY then recorded with Brian May for her debut studio album Anthems. Again, KERRY ELLIS went on to perform in many prestigious concerts and shows as a vocalist before returning to musical theatre as Nancy in Oliver, taking over from Jodie Prenger. Her CV is so impressive that I cannot possibly fit it all into such a short intro, but Children of Eden, War of the Worlds, Rent, Wonderland, Murder Ballad are but some of her credits. This doesn't even cover the amount of prestigious venues that KERRY has been asked to perform: the Royal Albert Hall, the Hippodrome Casino and the Palladium, to name just a few. KERRY ELLIS has racked up a number of awards, including the 2018 What's on Stage Awards and the 2019 Broadway.com Awards, both for her role as Elphaba in Wicked. In 2012, she won another What's on Stage award for Best Performance for her concert of her album Anthems. In 2015, she yet again won the Best Takeover award from What's on Stage for her role as Elphaba in Wicked. And in 2015, Broadway World gave her an award for her amazing performance as Grisabella in Cats. Okay, so I think I have successfully proved that KERRY ELLIS is a powerhouse of a performer, but that is enough from me. That's right! We have finally got to the part of the video that you came here for. Here is what happened when I caught up with the superstar herself. You have had an incredible career so far. You've done West End, you've done Broadway, you're best mates with Brian May. But where did it all begin for you? When did you know that this was your passion?
It never really was a question, really. I mean, I grew up doing like I was part of a local dance school. I went to local dance classes, nothing particularly high profile. It was all very ordinary, you know, like I send my kids to football and drama and all that kind of stuff. But I think I just developed a passion for it. I think I just loved going so much that I don't know what it was, whether it was the music, the movement, the performance side of it, but I just loved going, and I liked the discipline of it. I liked the physicality of it. And then it was never really a question. I was pretty active as a child and did lots of different things like horse riding and trampolining, and if anything physical, I would do it.
Yeah.
And anything that was kind of outside school that was like teamwork or competitive, I would do it. And it wasn't really until I turned about 12, 13 that I had to kind of start making choices of what's important, and I couldn't fit it all in, and what kind of path I might go on. And it was just never a question. I was always going to be a performer of some description. And then my natural route was to go to a drama college. And that was only really because my dance teacher at the time had gone to Lane Theatre Arts, which is where I ended up going.
Yeah.
And so I applied there, and I also applied at Doreen Bird, and I auditioned to both of them. I didn't get into Doreen Bird, I got into Lane's, and then it was just kind of went from there. I went to drama college and came out of drama college, and then started working. Never looked back.
Amazing. What was your first professional gig?
I mean, as a child, I guess the first thing I got paid for, if you like, was I did The Wizard of Oz at the Wolsey Theatre. And I was just one of the babes, one of the 3 teams of kids, played a munchkin and a person of the Emerald City and all of that. But that was the first kind of proper show, if you like. And I remember I can't even remember what we got paid. I think maybe we probably got paid 25 quid or something for the whole thing, or 25 quid a week, or whatever it was. But for me at the time, it was amazing. I was getting paid to do something that I loved doing, and that was probably quite a milestone for me, because it probably gave me an insight into, I could maybe make a living doing this, doing a job that I love doing. And that's something I really try to impose on my own kids is, we spend so much of our lives working. Why not do something that you love doing and that you're passionate about, and it might be something slightly different, but go for it, because it's how brilliant to do something that you love.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I read that you made your West End debut in My Fair Lady, and you got 3 hours notice to go on as Eliza. Is that true?
It's true, yeah.
Oh my gosh, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was amazing. You know what? It's funny. I've been writing a book over lockdown, and I've been talking about this a lot, and the actual details of it. And it's it was nice to kind of go back over it, because it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
That it was nice to revisit it and talk about it specifically, and actually take my time with it. So I was the second understudy, basically. So I was in the show. I was a swing in the show. So I was basically understudy to all the ensemble. And if one of them go off, you go on, and that's fine. And then I was second cover to Eliza Doolittle, which was played by Martine McCutcheon at the time. And she got sick. She went off. So the first cover went on, who was Alex J, who was also really young, kind of new to the industry. And she was a bit younger than me, and she got poorly. And we started off the show at the National Theatre, and at the National Theatre you don't really have second covers. It's just not really what they do. And we only had 3 months at the National, so I think that I was in place really for the transfer. We were going to transfer to Drury Lane after 3 months, and I hadn't really had any rehearsals. I'd been watching, obviously, because I was there. And I got a call in the afternoon. I think Martine was off. Alex was on. So she was doing the matinee, and I got a call from the office saying, "You're going to be on tonight." And are you ready? I was kind of like, no. So they brought me in, and I remember doing a rehearsal in the studio with the resident director, Sean Kerrison. And the two of us just ran through the whole show together. And he played all the different roles, and we ran around in the studio, like basically just mapping out the whole show. And then I think I before we actually the curtain went up, I think I got to run a few technical runs just so that I wouldn't get hurt. I hadn't done any costume changes. I hadn't done any wig fit, like nothing at all. And literally, yeah, I just went on, and that was it. And I don't really remember it, if I'm honest. I don't remember that first show. I remember doing it afterwards, but not really the detail of that very first time. I know the timelines and the the specifics, but I don't remember how I felt.
Well, surely you must have realised at that point anyway, if you can handle that, you can handle anything.
Yeah, well, ironically, the year before, I think it was the year before, I'd done a tour with Marty Webb and Dave Willits, and which was called Magic and the Musicals. And again, that was my very first job after leaving college, and it was like this massive 30-date tour in a very short period of time, and we were on this tour bus going all around the country again. And I was a swing. I was there was 6 ensemble people, and then there was Marty Webb and Dave Willits, and my friend and I, Stephen Palin, who's now a fabulous director, we were like the extra swing. So the 4 main ensembles would go on in every venue, and we would go on if they were sick or if there was room, in the bigger venues. And one night Marty got really sick, and it was a bit of a crisis, again, really, really late in the day, because I think she tried to do the sound check and it just wasn't really happening. She got poorly, and obviously the weight on her shoulders of people are coming to see her because her name is above the title and all that stuff. And the director, Mitch Sebastian, came in and said, Kerry, you could sing a couple of these songs, couldn't you? And I was like, yeah. And I went on that night as Marty Webb, so that was my first gig, and then my first kind of big takeover, if you like. So I kind of had a bit of a go at it before My Fair Lady happened. So I wouldn't say I was ready, but I'd had a little bit of experience. Didn't make it any easier.
It's like those dreams that all performers have, where you're rushed on stage and you don't know the script. Like that, it's like a real life version of the dream.
I have that dream all the time. Before I go into a new show, I have that dream at least once or twice. Every time I go into a new show, I have that dream. I can't find the stage, or I get on stage and I don't know my words, or all those horrible things.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a moment on stage where it's just you've blanked? I mean, I've had
loads of times. Yeah. Well, I think because I've been doing it 20 odd years, you're going to have those moments when, we're only human, and we do have moments that you can't explain, you can't control, you don't see them coming. And I think the skill is how you get out of those situations and how you deal with them. Yeah. And as long as you kind of say something and do something, it's all right. But if you just froze and didn't do anything, that's a problem. I think I've made up all sorts of words and lyrics and and movement and all sorts of stuff. I think I've got away with it until now.
Well, I've never heard anything about it.
I've never been caught out. Not yet.
So is it correct that while you were playing Eliza, that's when Brian May first saw you performing? Is that how that relationship began?
Yeah, it is. So they were auditioning for We Will Rock You, and Brian was in the audience with, I think he came with Mike Dixon to start with, who was the associate musical supervisor he was. And they came to watch the show. Whether they were scouting or not, I don't know, but they came to see the show, and I actually wasn't on for Eliza. I was just on in the ensemble, and Brian saw something in me. I don't even know how he spotted me, how he saw something. I really don't know, but they ended up coming back when I was playing Eliza, and then I got an audition for We Will Rock You, and then that was it. I had 7 auditions for We Will Rock You, and then got that part, and that was then our introduction, if you like.
So what was it like going into a role that you were originating rather than one you'd seen done before? What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was very well. I say it was very liberating, but in a way that I was creating something, but I wasn't really aware that I was creating something. I mean, if I did it now, it would be a very different thing. I would be much more aware of the gravitas of the role, you know, of actually you're going to now create something that is going to go on and on and on for years to come. That's it. It's your version. Yeah. I don't think I was quite aware of that at the time. I think I was blissfully naive, I think, which I think is good because you're not putting too much pressure on yourself. You're just going to do it. You're not going to take on all the weight of the expectation and the pressure. There was a little bit of pressure on me because I'd come from My Fair Lady, and I was a little bit in the papers at that time. Yeah. So there was a little bit of kind of, what are you going to do? You know, how are you going to do this? But I found it just fun being in a room with lots of other young people and singing these rock songs. And Queen were obviously there. Brian and Roger were there. Very first-hand, very hands-on, and it was just a lot of fun. But I didn't really think about it too much. I don't remember thinking about it too much. I think I just took it in my stride.
That's incredible. You take a lot in your stride.
Well, I did. Well, I came into it very early. I was like in my 20s. I was like 20 when I did My Fair Lady, 21 when I did Rock You. And if I look at people in their young 20s now, I feel how young they, or not how, just how much life they haven't experienced yet. You know, it's not a case of they can't do the job. It's just that they just haven't experienced stuff. So I think at the time you just go with it. You don't think about it. Now I think I'd freak myself out. I think I'd be like, oh God.
You've played Elphaba in the West End and on Broadway, and you've won awards for it. What was it like playing such an iconic role? And also, were there any big differences between the West End and the Broadway versions?
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing, it was a dream role. It was a dream to go to Broadway. I mean, it was something I never really thought would happen, and it did. And that was incredible. The differences for me, that there aren't really that many differences because I was doing the exact same show. Like it wasn't even a different production of that show. It was exactly the same. Like it was almost just like picking myself up and plonking myself in a different city, and I knew exactly where to go, what to do. The only thing that was different is obviously when I left the stage, and the backstage was obviously very different, but the on stage was very familiar to me. People seem to think that Broadway audiences are a lot more louder and a lot more boisterous than they are here in the UK, but I don't think that is necessarily true, especially in a show like Wicked that's so interactive, that's so, you get the audience reacting, and you want them to be loud, and they are loud, definitely here. And they were on Broadway. I mean, there were slightly different reactions to maybe the Wizard of Oz lines in the show, because American audiences are I don't know, they're just maybe more familiar with it in general, which is a very sweeping statement. But that seemed to land a little bit different. But other than that, for me, it wasn't that much different. I'd love to go back and do something a little easier so that I could just enjoy the city a bit more. I love New York. I love going and visiting, but Wicked was a big show to do there, and I had to kind of live like a saint and not really do anything. So I'd love to go back and have something a bit that's less responsibility for me, so I could go and have fun.
Did you have to change your accent between Elphabas, or did you stay British?
No, you'd have thought that I would have been British when I was over there, because everybody that came over, like when Adina came, she did an American accent. We've had people since her and they've done their own accent, but I had to do an American accent when I was there, which was actually fine. That was okay. And not too difficult. But what was tough was coming back. I then had this like hybrid accent. I had this kind of English American hybrid that I couldn't get out of, because I got so used to doing it in this American accent. I couldn't then get out of it. And when I came back, they'd really worked hard on everybody being very British here, so they really wanted that straight British accent, and I couldn't get out of it, and that was tricky.
Yeah.
That was very hard.
What would you say your proudest moment in your career has been so far for you personally?
Oh, that's difficult. There's so many. I mean, the Festival of Remembrance, I always say, is up there because it was such a poignant moment. I was singing Anthem with Brian from my first album, Anthems. It was at such a memorable event, such an event that wasn't about me, and it had a purpose, which felt really liberating, and felt nice to be there for another reason. So that was pretty special. I mean, I'll never forget watching the poppy drop. That took my breath away. I mean, you watch it on the telly, but to actually be there and feel the tension in that room and feel the emotion in that room is something else. I mean, I've performed at the Albert Hall so many times, fortunately, and I've experienced it in all these different scenarios, but to be there on that specific day had a completely different feel and a completely different atmosphere. So that was pretty special. I mean, Broadway was obviously massive. All the shows I've done. I mean, every moment has its place. You know, everything is your favorite at the time. But yeah, I don't know. My own music is always quite special. I guess what is your favorite is whatever you're doing at the time. And at the moment, I just released a Christmas single, which was pretty cool. And my podcast is very important to me as well, because it's something I've created through lockdown, which has kept me focused, and it's something that is just mine. I haven't been influenced by anybody else. It's just me doing my thing, which has been really cool.
Yeah, very freeing, I expect.
Very freeing, and also you're not being edited, which is nice. You know, it's just what you want to say, who you want to talk to, and it's just quite. You're not being influenced or noted or told to talk about something or told to not talk about something. You know, it's completely on my terms, which is really nice.
I mean, I get it. This is why I'm doing this for exactly the same reason. It's great.
And the podcast world is a nice world. I think it's a friendly world. It feels like there's room for everybody, and it also feels like people are willing to just chat on podcasts, and it's something easy. They can do it from their home. They feel very comfortable. They feel very relaxed, and I feel like that. And being on both sides, one being on the interviewer side, is that you don't feel like somebody's trying to get a story out of you, and the same being on the other side, you just want to have a chat. There's no agenda, which I think is really nice about podcasts. I love listening to them as well.
Yeah, same. So you mentioned briefly that you were working on your book. Do you have a date in mind for that, or is that to be confirmed?
Well, it's finished. I mean, the book's finished. We did it mainly in the summer, in the first lockdown, and we've been editing and, you know, doing cuts and this, that, and the other. And at the moment, I'm kind of jiggling between two publishers. So hopefully, I think spring, summer, because they need about 6 months to get it out. I was going to self-publish, but it was just a massive headache, and I just got a bit daunted and overwhelmed by it. So I'm now talking to two different publishers, and hopefully by this, spring, summer, I think.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that one. So what is on KERRY Ellis's bucket list then? What are the things in your head that you're like, these are things I have to do at some point?
Career or life?
Anything.
Well, career-wise, I mean, I'd love to perform at Carnegie Hall. I'd love to perform there, and I'd also love to do Sydney Opera House. They're two massive places that I've just never performed at, and they're kind of on my list. A bucket. I mean, I love doing what I'm doing. I would like. Well, I mean, I say that when COVID wasn't around. I'd love to be back on stage, playing big theatres, big arenas. Just doing what I do. I miss that dreadfully. I think that's it really. I'd love to travel a little bit more. I mean, I get to travel a bit with my job anyway, but I love traveling. I love meeting new people. I like working in different places. Yeah, I have no massive, like, I'm kind of at that stage where I've, released my albums. I've created roles. I've had children. I've jumped out of a plane. I've done all these things. So there's no like big aspiration or such, but it's just doing more of what I'm doing. I'd love to maybe tour a bit more as myself, have a #1 album. I mean, that would be nice. Haven't done that yet.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to come. So, final question for you. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2021?
You know what? I think I normally do. I normally have the usual stereotypical fitness ones that everybody has. But actually, in lockdown, I've stayed pretty active. It's been the thing that's kept me going. I mean, it's getting outside, getting on my bike, or doing training sessions or whatever it is, has kept me sane, I think, through lockdown. So I didn't really make that resolution as such. I mean, yeah, I don't. Again, for me, it's about getting back to where I was, getting back to performing and getting out there, and maybe just being a little bit more fearless and driving. I'm a bit safe sometimes, and a little bit. I let things come to me, whereas I should maybe go get them a little bit more.
Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Kerry. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been lovely.
Hope that you enjoyed me shining my little spotlight on Kerry Ellis today. If you did, then please give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this one on my channel, then please click that subscribe button, because I have so many ready and waiting to go. More incredible stars of the stage, award winners, directors and writers. You will not want to miss it. Take care, everyone. Bye. Hi, thank you so much for getting to this part of the video. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch. I'd love it if you could click subscribe so we can stay in touch, and a little like would be nice as well. So why don't you leave a comment, just say hi, or let me know any songs you like or anything you'd like to see me cover on this channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!